Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamuel Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called The Chariots of Israel. The Chariots of Israel. All right. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right. Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called The Chariots of Israel. All right. And I was watching, the two pit bulls today, and this is what Deacon, said. So let me just play this. I believe this is at the hour and 19th minute. I might have to go back a little bit. Let me see if this is it. Salakia.
To be able to move, to be able to be in their homeland and come up to pay homage and still be from the lake of fire.
Okay, here it is. So it's about 1:19 and 48 seconds. All right, so let's play.
In bondage to serve Israel.
I'm going to go back just a little bit.
Nations getting this salvation at the same time. And again, what is their salvation, everybody? They're
Salakia.
with this, because I wanted them to really take some time on Zechariah 2, the other nations getting this salvation at the same time. And again, what is their salvation, everybody? They're just getting delivered from the lake of fire and bondage.
So the heathen are getting delivered from the lake of fire. All right. So here out of Babylon, he's saying that the heathen are getting delivered from the lake of Babylon. All right. Let's keep listening.
To serve Israelites, to be able to move, to be able to be in their homeland and come up to pay homage and still be under us. That's all we're saying. Christianity does not teach that. The rest of their nations are going in.
All right, let's play it back just a little bit more again so you can hear it.
Really take some time on Zechariah 2, the other nations getting this salvation at the same time. And again, what is their salvation, everybody? They're just getting delivered from the lake of fire and bondage to serve Israelites, to be able to move, to be able to be in their homeland and come up to pay homage and still be.
Right. So they're saying that the heathen are going to be saved from the lake of fire, all right, to serve the Israelites. All right. And we know, through the scriptures, let's get it. let's get the scriptures. All right. Let's just get into it. Let's go to let's get this real quick. Let's go to Second Ezra. All right, Second Ezra chapter 15. All right, we understand that this is modern day Egypt, right? Sodom and Egypt, as the scriptures say. This is Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 9. It says, "Therefore saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, I will surely avenge them." Matter of fact, let's start at verse 8. It says, "I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me." Who is the innocent and righteous blood? It's the elect. I mean, the Israelites. All right. It says, "And the souls of the just complain continually." It says, "And therefore saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, I will surely avenge them and receive them unto me. all the innocent blood from among them. It says, behold, my people, who are his people, the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and those who look like these other nations, but their lineage goes back to Jacob. All right. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. It says, I will not suffer them to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Okay, but ultimately, so they're saying that the Gentiles are going to receive salvation, all right, so that they can serve, from the lake of fire. So those who are here in America, in Babylon the Great, those heathens can be saved out of Babylon, right? But then the scriptures tell you that in Zechariah 13 and 8, 2/3 of our people, so 2/3 of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are going to die here in Babylon, right? Who are the children of the Most High, all right? But 2/3 of them are going to die here in Babylon, but you're going to have heathen that are going to make it out, right? That makes no sense, all right? But let's get this. Let's go to 1 Peter, all right? Salakia. Let's go to 1 Peter and 4, and let's go to verse number 18. All right, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 18, and it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and sinner appear? Okay, so the scriptures say that the righteous shall scarcely be saved. All right. Why? Because when Yahawashi comes, all right, Yahawashi is going to come right before those missiles hit Babylon the Great. All right. It's going to be that simultaneous, as soon as the missiles are shot up in the air, they're getting ready to come down. All right. Guess what? Yahawashi and the angels and the chariots, they're coming. All right. To what? To gather the elect. Okay. So it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, all right, you probably see them, those ICBM missiles, those warheads coming down. All right. And you're calling on the name of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and at that moment, right before, right by the skin of your teeth, the righteous are going to be saved. Okay. Let's get that. So it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? All right, because what is that? Let's go to the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 24 and verse number 30. All right. Verse 29, it says, immediately after tribulation, and in those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. All right, talking about those ICBM missiles. All right, with those nuclear warheads. All right, getting ready to utterly destroy Babylon the Great. Okay, it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. All right. So simultaneously, as those missiles are about to hit, Yahawashi and the angels, crack that sky. All right. And it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. All right. Not there. It doesn't say they're going to rejoice. All right. Because salvation is for them. All right. It says, then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. All right. And those clouds are talking about those so-called UFOs, all right, or spacecrafts. All right, Yahawashi is coming in a spacecraft. All right, to do what? Let's read it. It says, "And he shall send his angels with the great sound of the trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." All right. Now let's get this part here. It says, "And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds of the earth." Okay, so Yahawashi is going to, send the angels to gather his elect from the four winds of the earth. Okay, but it says with the great sound of a trumpet. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15, and let's start at verse number 51. It says, "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed." All right. The Israel. Okay. The elect. It says, "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye," it says, "For what? For the trumpet shall sound." All right. What did he say in Matthew? Let's see, do I have it? Matthew 24:31, "And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet." All right. 1 Corinthians 15:52 says, "In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." Who? The elect of Israel. It says, "For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality." It says, "So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory." All right, because our bodies have to change to go into those chariots. All right, and what happens? Those corruptible bodies are changed into incorruptible bodies. All right, immortal bodies. All right, so the mortal must put on immortality in order to get into those chariots. Okay, that's the only way. All right, so when you're saying that the heathen are going to have incorruptible bodies. They're going to get in the chariots with incorruptible bodies. That's madness. Okay, but it says, "In a moment, in a twinkle of an eye," right? So it says, "shall scarcely be saved." All right, this is the elect of Israel. Is going to be scarcely saved. All right, the scriptures talk about they're going to be like as if they have dreamed. Like it was like a waking up from a nightmare and understanding. You went through all this hell, and now your body is changed. You're in the chariot. All right, and now you can kind of take a deep breath and cheer to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right. So it says, "In a moment, in the twinkle of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." Right? But it's going to be in a moment, in a twinkling. Okay, which is quickly. All right. Why? Because the righteous are going to scarcely be saved. All right. When what? When Yahawashi comes and sends his angels. All right. To gather his elect from the four winds of the earth, man. Okay. And you have to have those incorruptible bodies to enter into the chariot. Okay. And those chariots, right, are coming for Israel. All right. What is that? Isaiah 31 and verse number 5. It says, "As birds flying, so will Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it. And passing over, he will preserve it." Okay. So the righteous are scarcely going to be saved, and they're going to enter into those chariots. All right. Why? It says, let's go to Isaiah 26 and verse number 20, it says, "Come, my people." Who are his people? The Israelites. Okay. Of this is of the elect, right, of Israel. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee, hide thyself as if it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." It says, "For behold, Yahawah cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, and the earth also shall disclose her blood, and there shall no more cover her slain." Okay, the Lord is going to gather his elect, all right, and he's going to beam them up in the ships, okay, that they will be away from the impending danger that they're going to bring upon the earth, man, especially Babylon the Great. All right. Babylon the Great, anybody left in Babylon, right, it talks about they're going to be destroyed. All right. Let's get that in Jeremiah. Right. Jeremiah. Let's see. 51. Let's go to verse 49. It says, "As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall the fall of the slain, shall fall the slain of all the earth." Okay. When we go, it says, let's see. Let's go up a little bit. Here we go. Verse 29, it says, "And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahawah shall be performed against Babylon." Right? America is Babylon. All right. This is the Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, daughter of Babylon. All right. AKA America, the great whore, whatever you want to call it. It says, "And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahawah shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant." Okay. I mean, no one's going to be left here because this place is going to be on fire. All right. John the Revelator saw Babylon the Great, or America, on fire. That's what he was looking at when he saw the lake of fire. All right. Why? Because of those ICBM missiles that are going to be hitting this place, those nuclear warheads. All right. And guess what? And also Yahawashi and the angels. All right. Because they're coming to bring destruction too. All right. With the laser beams of the chariots. All right. To make sure that this place is utterly destroyed. Okay. And that's why the elect are have to get beamed out of this place. All right. To escape that impending danger. Okay. Something that I wanted. Wisdom of Solomon. Let's get that. All right. Because the scriptures talk about the strangeness of thy salvation. All right. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him." Right. Our enemies. Okay. Starting with Esau, Edom. Okay. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors." Okay. It says, "When they shall see it, they shall be troubled with fear." Right. It said, "All the tribes of the earth shall mourn." All right. Because guess what? 2/3 of our people are going to be mourning and crying when they see Yahawashi coming. All right. Playtime is over. All right. And the Lord is coming to bring his fierce anger. All right. And anybody left here in Babylon is going to be wiped off. Okay. It says, "When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they have looked for." Okay. People are not expecting, spaceships to come out of space and start beaming up so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. They're not expecting that. All right, it's going to be the strangeness of their salvation when you start seeing, Tyrone and his name might be Tyrone, but he changed his name, right? But those of the elect getting beamed up, all right, into chariots, all right, it says you made no account of his labors, right? Is that those Power Rangers that was sitting out there, right? How are they getting beamed up? Okay, people are going to be amazed, all right, when they see, all right, the salvation, all right, of the Israelites, of the elect getting beamed up into those chariots, all right, out of that destruction, okay, because the Lord is coming to bring, right, let's get that. He's coming to sweep this place with destruction, all right. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 23. It says, I will also make it a possession for the bittern, and pools of water, I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of hosts. Okay, so the Lord said he's going to sweep this place with the broom of destruction, basically. All right, what is that broom of destruction? The fire. All right, that's going to sweep across Babylon the Great. All right, and utterly destroy anything in its way. Okay, from one coast to the other coast. Revelation 18 says, for within 1 hour, this place shall be utterly destroyed. Okay, and guess what? Anybody left here is going to feel that wrath. Okay, that's why the elect have to be beamed out of it, because what? They need to be saved. All right, Luke chapter 1, and we'll start at verse 68. It says, blessed be Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the most high power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. All right. He hath raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from what? From our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Okay. So we're to be saved from our enemies. All right. In the hand of all that hate us. All right. So the Lord is going to gather his elect. All right. The elect of Israel, gather them out of the impending danger. And he's coming to bring judgment, man. He's coming to bring death and destruction. Isaiah 66 talks about it. The slain of the Lord shall be many. All right. Anybody left here in Babylon, it's done for you. All right. Including 2/3 of our people. All right. And those who are of the elect, they're going to be gathered, what? In those chariots. And the chariots are what? Let's get that. The chariots of Israel, not of the other nations. And you have to have immortal bodies to get into it. That's why it says in a blink, in a twinkling of an eye, we shall all be changed, because you have to have those immortal bodies in order to enter into the chariots. You can't have a fleshly body entering into the chariots of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. So what you're saying is now the heathen are going to get immortal bodies. That's nonsense. All right. 2 Kings 2, and let's start at verse number 9. It says, and it came to pass, 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 9, and it came to pass when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, right, abducted, all right, it shall be so unto thee, but if not, it shall not be so. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, all right, a UFO, right, which are the chariots of the Lord, all right, so-called spacecraft. It says, and horses of fire, right? Same thing. And parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind. All right. The little, what do they call it? The tractor beam. You see in the thing. Beamed them up. Okay. Into heaven. It says, and Elisha saw it. And he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. Okay? Because Elijah was taken into a chariot. All right? Just as Yahawashi was taken into a chariot. But they called it what? A cloud. When you go into the book of Acts. Okay? The only people who get beamed up in there are Israelites. Okay? Israelites. All right? The chariots of Israel. Okay? So no heathen is getting beamed up and is going to be sitting next to the elect of Israel who have immortal bodies. And then here's a heathen sitting next to him too with an immortal body. Like, yeah, we made it too. No. All right? The Lord is coming to gather his elect. All right? And nobody else. His people. He's come to save his people from their enemies. All right? And from the hand of all that hate them. All right? So, just off, man. All right? So I just wanted to do, just a quick, little video, all right, showing that, the chariots of Israel, right, are for the Israelites. All right? And they're going to be beamed up. All right? They're going to be scarcely saved. All right? And that twinkling of an eye, they're going to be changed, and they're going to get what? They're going to get caught up in that whirlwind. All right? And it's going to be the strangeness of their salvation. All right? Getting beamed up into the chariots of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right? To what? So that the wrath of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi can come upon this place, man, upon the earth and upon Babylon the Great. And anybody left here in Babylon, right, as it says, even of our people, let's get that real quick and we'll close it out. Zechariah 13:8. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Right? 2 out of every 3 so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans here in Babylon are going to die here in Babylon. All right? They're going to feel the wrath of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right? It says, but the third shall be left therein. It says, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is my most high power. Okay? And those of the third, they're going to be beamed up into those chariots. All right? With those, and as they, they're translated, guess what? They're going to get immortal bodies. All right? Which they're not going to die. They're incorruptible. All right? So understand that. All right? These are the chariots of Israel. All right? So I just wanted to do this lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying. All right? With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Kohala Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well to the spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect and the household of faith, all right, of Israel, all right. And with that, we say a ball, and shalom.